Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe Capita.
What's going on, Know-It-Alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. We are locked and loaded, ready to go. I know it's the part of the off season where it's like not so entertaining. It's not, it's not exciting enough for us football fans, but we're going to make it exciting for you because we got some cool things to talk about. Let's go, Jim. Let's go. We got We got a couple of different things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about stock up, stock down for the NFC conference, all those teams in there. And we're also going to talk about some of the NFL topics that have hit us of late. And if you're new to the show, if you're by chance new, if you just stopped in, welcome to the show first and foremost. Second of all, if you could just do us a favor, if you could go ahead on Facebook or YouTube, search us up, Football on the Know Show, or click the link or whatever. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And the same thing for Facebook. Become a member, become a know-it-all. Let's keep growing this football family up. Let's keep talking some football. Listen, don't be shy to get the comments down below. Don't be shy to come out with any kind of questions, even your own opinions, anything that we like to do here. Let's go. I'm excited. Let's go. Let's get into this. Come on.
All right, yeah. Like I said, there isn't anything really going on a whole lot of news.
We're making it happen.
But yeah, so the stuff that we heard around now recently that's kind of gaining traction is the Pro Bowl. Everybody's had an issue with this Pro Bowl and stuff.
I know.
Whether it's it's the game, the way it's played, where it's played even too, I think, which is interesting in itself too. The thing is the steps that they've tried to take to get better ratings, more people interested in the whole thing, players actually interested in going to this thing. And they've made many changes and a lot of mistakes in the whole thing. I think putting it the week before to try and get players to come, I think was dumb because that's just going to make sure that they don't, especially some of your best players are playing in the big game, the Super Bowl, so they aren't going to go there. And then you put it in Orlando, Florida, which if you're an NFL player and even, a lot of just average Joe, people go to Florida for vacation frequently, just like it's like a Myrtle Beach location too as well. You go all over. Hawaii is a bigger thing for them. It's a tropical island. Not a lot of people are able to go to Hawaii. And so when if you're not interested in going to the Pro Bowl, first of all, at least you get a trip to Hawaii for you and your family. I mean, that's something to look forward to, especially at the end of the season. But again, they visited this time and time again. They've made some changes. They brought back the skills challenges and things like that. I wish they would just keep it to the players that play that position and just have the competition. I don't need to see a wide receiver trying to do a deep throw and get points against another one. I really don't care. I'm about seeing the Patrick Mahomes, the Russell Wilsons, the Aaron Rodgers, things like that, the Tom Brady's go toe-to-toe. But yeah, I mean, if they want to keep that and stuff, and now they're considering maybe just removing the game. I was torn about this at first because, I think, again, I'm a traditionalist. I like the way it's a Pro Bowl game. That's what it is. But when you break it down to brass tacks, a Pro Bowl recognizes the all-stars of the game. It doesn't technically, I guess, need to be like an all-star game, like the way the baseball does it, or the NBA and things like that. They should just maybe recognize the players and maybe have it be, again, bring it back to Hawaii is my idea, and then have maybe a banquet about the whole thing or a award show. Like, I don't come almost like just make them known. You know what I mean? They can make a show out of it, like they do with the draft and things like that. An event to where they recognize the people who have made the Pro Bowl team. And then have your competitions throughout the weekend. Make it a weekend of festivities and events for the fans.
Yeah, and that's basically what it should be. It should be a celebration of the season of these great players that made the Pro Bowl team. And it could be that simple. Just have an event, like a Friday night, an evening event where you can promote these Pro Bowl players and who made the Pro Bowl team. You don't necessarily have to have a game because we all know, listen, I've grown tired of this Pro Bowl game. I've watched it when I was younger, leading up to my mid-teenage years until I started to get a little frustrated because I'm like, why aren't you tackling him? Why aren't you throwing that? why aren't you making the play on the football? Like, I started to get aggravated because it's like they're not really playing the game the way it's meant to be played. They're kind of going through the motions. Like, we're here, we're vacationing, and everything's great, and we're going to be, like, just kind of like we're on the field, but we're not going all out. And I understand they don't want to get injured. I understand that. The offseason is around the corner for them, and honestly, I think it's like an old record. It's the same thing over and over, and the players are even getting kind of tired as far as playing in the game. I know the NFL has made incentives as like, okay, well, the winning team wins $1 million. Well, who cares? When you split that up with all those players, it really doesn't make any sense, like, for them to, like, that's not really much of an incentive. So let's do away with the game itself. And because, let's face it, people aren't showing up to the Pro Bowl game for that. They're showing up for the festivities beforehand, the skill competitions. Who's the fastest man? Where's that gone to? We need that back into this, the skills competition. You can have offensive line versus D-line on certain drills. You could do so many different things, like best lineman, best D-lineman, in a somewhat of a skills competition. You know what I mean? Who pushes the sled the farthest or something? You add weight to it. You know what I mean? There could be a lot of different things. And just like Jim was saying, even when he talked about how he wasn't so thrilled about quarterbacks who has a strongest arm or whatever, but that's still something that they can do. Like, who's the most accurate quarterback? And anybody that is on the Pro Bowl team can enter in any of these competitions. And that, to me, is more exciting than to watch a game that they're going to half-ass for 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm kind of done with that. So let's get to more of, like, a special event Friday night announcing the Pro Bowl team, and then Saturday, Sunday, let's have some special events and some drills and some contests to make it fun.
Right, yeah, and I'm like the thing is with me though too is I don't really, I'm not into the dodgeball thing either though. You know, I don't think they should be playing like a dodgeball thing. A lot of people I think are into it. It's something different and stuff, but I think if it's not football related, then I'm not appealed to it at all. I'm like, I don't care. I don't need to see these guys play dodgeball together. I need to see how that shows any off any of their skill and things like that too. I am for the Madden tournament again too, because it's tied together. It could be also another sponsor. EA could be part of it or whoever. And they can show that they still play video games. They hang out. They love the game of football. They might even be a better player at Madden than sometimes at NFL in certain positions, or say, he could beat this other guy, that's a Pro Bowl, or in like an offensive lineman beat a wide receiver at something, other than trying to beat him out in sprinting or something. So I think it's just, a different animal there. And
yeah, definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
What do you think about that? What do you think about just removing some of that though too? I mean, or do you want to keep something like that?
I think that like a Madden tournament would be fun for not only the players but the fans, because we all know about the big Madden tournament where there's guys like us that are playing, but they're like super good at the game to the point where the competition is at an all-time high, and let's see who the best Madden player is. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be fun for the players as well, because now, whoever does, and we all know these football players, they play, a lot of them do
and
play
even put
video
some
games.
Money on the line, too.
So,
yeah.
like, just the contest or to be the best Madden player for that year, you know what I mean? That would be another cool event that they could implement into Pro Bowl weekends.
Yeah, or even I think even too, I don't know if this would stir up any incentive, but I know they like to do this because they have charities. Like one of the first things of becoming an NFL player, you start your own charity and things like that, events to try and get things going. What about some of the things that you do like the competitions?
How about
say
everything?
You win, that goes to one of your charities.
How about everything?
Not even just money and things.
How about every event should be a charity-driven type of event. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like Patrick Mahomes,
you win, it's charity of your choice or whatever.
Exactly. You win and you become the best player for that. Here's a trophy. Thanks for playing. But also, what's going to be more, what's going to be a greater gift is now the NFL is also going to donate $100,000 to your charity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That would be cool. Mm-hmm. I like that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, there's some of those headlines coming out about the Pro Bowl. What do you think is a good idea for you? I know I've heard a few different other things from other people. and some people thought of maybe a bracket challenge with some of the sporting events that they do, where each division is a team, and then as a team they collectively go. So you'll see like Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants playing together on the same team for that particular thing, and move on into a bracket sort of thing, like a March Madness. But I don't know.
You could utilize that, and what about doing like an obstacle course? Mm-hmm. Like, because I know they've kind of tried to do that in recent years. You could do that and get like 3 guys from each team, or 3 guys from each division, or 4 guys even, and then try to do something like that. And whoever has the fastest time, or you know what I mean, whatever, like hits the most targets or whatever they come up with. That could be another fun.
You know,
event
I just thought about too, and even different fan experiences where you get to team up with, say, like, you know, you see this all the time at like my kids when they have like field day at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They have like the sack races and things like that.
Oh, yeah,
and they tie the ankles together.
Yeah.
Say you and like Tyreek Hill all of a sudden you get to tie your ankles to your legs, and you guys got to win the race. How funny is that? Because he can't run fast then. No, it all depends on his partner. It could be a young kid or whoever wins. You know, they can make it a drawing, and somehow you're able to do it. I think that would be entertaining. And again, it's all about the fan experience too, is what I think they really want in this one. All right, we got Mike Tackett in the house with us.
What's going
tonight.
on, Mike?
Mike Tackett, here we go.
Welcome to the show, brother. He said he goes, I went to the skills competition at Disney a few years ago. Met Russell Wilson. Oh my God, that's taking it back. Russell Wilson, Alex Smith, left tackle. Work done, and Derek Brooks.
Work done.
Derek Brooks. That would have been
was
awesome.
That was a ways away.
Russell Wilson in his younger years. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if Work Done's there
that's
too.
That's pretty awesome. Mike.
Wasn't a while ago, and Work Done was doing something special.
Yeah.
For
Next
charities.
thing, Mike writes in. He goes, "Remember the quarterback skills competition or skills challenge?
What they used to do?
They used to do. Would love that, along with a Legends and All-Star flag game.
Ooh, now I like that idea though. Because I know you're against the flag team altogether, like say the Pro Bowl or something like that.
Yeah.
But say you get Joe Montana and Dan Marino or something
Tim
like that
Brown,
on
like
each.
like
they say they pick a team or something, or they get selected. You got NFC, Joe Montana on one side, Dan Marino on the other, and they get a flag team. You can bring in older, vets.
You could do old versus current. Like you could do Hall of Fame versus your Pro Bowl.
Oh, that would and flag. I guess it wouldn't be matter.
Flag
it wouldn't matter. I guess, but still, some of those guys again trying to get back to it. I mean, that'd be rough. Because even if say you did decide to bring some of these other legends,
obviously would have to sign up.
Yeah,
like
make Terry Bradshaw a coach or something like that. He seems like a funny kind of coach. Would be funny.
That none of the older guys that can barely move, they're not going to go into it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys that are kind of like maybe new into the Hall of Fame or whatever, like a Tim Brown that could still kind of probably play or something like that. That might make it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and he's talking about the old competition. I remember watching them too, and that's what kind of I was into when I would watch. I would watch the Pro Bowl game and the competitions. You got to see those greats go against each other, and that's what I'm talking about. When I don't need to see wide receivers trying to throw these deep balls, trying to get the targets and stuff like that. No. I'd rather see the two guys go at it, and then if these guys aren't going in it because it's the week before the Super Bowl and they want to not risk injury and things like that, then put it towards the end again. I mean, because now you're switching up altogether. Again, you're not trying to get people to draw to watch the game anymore. So switch it back, and again, I'd make it a different location or something if you wanted to. But I think the Honolulu, like the Hawaii thing, I think was the way to go. It's a different experience for some of these guys if they haven't gone there yet. Because I know Mike Tackett probably enjoys that he's able to just go to Disney or something like that and see some of these guys in Orlando living there in Florida. But I think it's a better draw for some of these players to go to Hawaii and stuff like that. So then you do get to see some of these players that are going to play in the big game. A week after, say, whatever, I get to go to Disneyland if I'm the MVP, but then I also get to go to Hawaii and do this with my family, and I get to do a competition where you do get to see, like, Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen or something like that, not just in a game where you've got 52 players or 53 players against each other back and forth that decide the game. It isn't the quarterback that flat out decides the game. It's a team game. And whoever plays the best, wins. It wins the game. It has nothing to do with this quarterback versus that quarterback. But when we get a chance to do that here, I think that's the way to go.
And that's where the NFL screwed up, is when they decided to move the Pro Bowl, in that 2-week radius right before the Super Bowl. So a lot of these two teams that are going to that championship game, they're automatically taking all those players are automatically rescinding their names to go to the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. So in order to avoid that, let's put it back at the end. Let's have the Super Bowl back up a week, and let's have the Pro Bowl weekend for the festival and the festivities. Let's have that at the very end of the season like it used to be. I think that would be the best decision for the NFL and for the fans. So let's get back to that.
Mike Tackett's got some more.
He also said if the Commanders' $3 billion plan falls through the cracks due to political reasons, is that the nail in the coffin for Dan Snyder?
I think it's a thing that's been coming for Dan Snyder. Again, I think a lot of people know my belief on this whole thing. First of all, I'm going to give a shout out to Michael Guerrero with the house.
Yeah, there he is.
Michael Guerrero's in the house.
Welcome back, buddy.
And Lawrence Elliott, he's in the house with us
Welcome
tonight,
to the show, Lawrence.
He says they need to revive the Pro Bowl in some capacity. It's bad. And maybe they just kill it. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Just remove the game itself, but make it an event to honor the people that have played well during the season and make it a fan filled kind of event, right? That you can even go to and interact more.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl game now you're right, you're absolutely right. First of all, it is terrible to watch. Mm-hmm. I can't watch it anymore. I won't watch it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I loved when back in the day when Ronnie Lott was in the Pro Bowl, he would smash players coming over the middle. He actually continued to play. Mm-hmm. Him and that's what kind of kicked up the intensity in that game is back then they were playing for real, no matter what. And then over time, it kind of became this kind of lazy style of a football game, and that's kind of where fans are starting to fall off. They're starting to not like watching what they see on the football field.
Also,
it's
people caring
exciting
about their brand too, and be able to make as much money possible, especially with the way injuries have been and stuff like that. So I think again they're trying to, get the money that they can and not possibly get an injury in a game that doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, listen, you can take insurance policies out if you want to.
I agree with that,
and that's the thing
well.
is players have that ability. They have a lot of them, especially the ones that make it to the Pro Bowl. They have money. Mm-hmm. They can put an insurance policy on themselves for playing in that game, and if they happen to get hurt, here comes the insurance policy money. So that they have that capability. They could do that. But I'm not really 100% sold on in this game continuing. I feel like if they go a different route in terms of more skill competitions and doing different drills and stuff like that along those lines, I feel like that would be more entertaining for a lot of people.
Lawrence says money and business side is a major issue to Pro Bowl for sure. And I think they do all right ratings-wise. I think they even said they had like 7-something million viewers or something like that at the Pro Bowl, even though a lot of people think that the game stinks overall. You're still getting people to watch it, and it's still doing better than ratings on many other TV shows and stuff. So the people are there, but I think the more you make it interactive for them and something like that, I think they'll be more involved and willing to watch or even go there, sell tickets to be part of it. But now let's get back to what Mike's saying about the Washington Commanders. People have heard too. Now they're trying to buy land, I think, in Virginia to possibly set up a stadium to be built there, and working with Virginia to try and raise money to help get that together. But if it fails for them, is it another failure for the Washington Commanders for Dan Snyder? Will it be the nail in the coffin? Like I said, my take about this, I think it's been a witch hunt after this guy altogether. I understand that he does been doing a lot of bad things, and he probably hasn't run the organization the proper way and had issues. But I still look at the fact that Bezos, who owns the Washington Post and things like that, putting out the stories that was bringing up the emails and all that and blah, 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 and still having interest in buying this team, I think is kind of like a one-sided issue here. Like he is putting it out there. Here's the evidence. Now get him out of there so I can buy this team. And I think that's kind of an issue.
It's possible, but not likely because you have to be approved by the other owners to buy that team.
Well,
so if it is a witch hunt and the owners don't want him there, then he's not going to get the team. So
they've also I'm sure it's upon agreement with the NFL that they have to go, or that they wanted to go with the TV deals for the Amazon for Thursday games, and now Amazon owns all the rights to those games.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not looking at it in that Listen, here's the deal. Dan Snyder's done some really dirty and shady things in his career as the owner, former owner, mind you, because he did sign it over to his wife.
Yeah, that's right.
And he doesn't do anything on the day-to-day operations. Everybody, he just signed it over to his wife. It's all good. She's taking care of it. But all in all, I really think that Dan Snyder's time is coming, and I don't think it has anything to do with. Even if Bezos does end up buying this team, if Dan Snyder gets kicked out and they need to sell the team, and even if Bezos buys it and that all goes through, I still think that it's time for Snyder to go. I think that he's done enough things on the wrong side that it's definitely ruffling some feathers in between some owners there. And to the point where now, like, they're fed up, and they don't even want him at the table anymore. So they're going to do their due diligence, and if it ends up being where, like, okay, sorry, Dan, you got to sell the team no matter what. Like, that's it. They're already taking votes now on this.
Yeah.
So let's see where this ends up. And if it is, in fact, to the point where Dan does have to sell the team, then so be it, and let the next person come in. And I hope – because we've all heard now Denver's selling their team. We're still waiting to see like who's going to be the final buyer in that. But we do know, and we've talked about this before, about minority owners coming in and possibly getting a group together to purchase a team and changing that type of culture as an owner. This could be another opportunity for another, like a minority group, to come in together and perhaps purchase Washington as another franchise, and maybe that's going to get the wheels turning on changing some things at the ownership level.
Right, and that's where I think they're looking at with trying to raise the money for it. Because, again, when you're trying to bid this to your taxpayers and for the state to cover some of the bill, I mean, we've heard about this here with New York. How long has New York been trying to get the Buffalo Bills renovations and a new stadium over there? They've asked taxpayers plenty of times. It's got shot down here and there and blah, blah, blah. And now it's finally going to be going through. But here, again, they cite Senator Chap Patterson, who previously supported the franchise. Now he's changed his mind and said he won't vote for the stadium bill. He won't be a part of it because he's no longer has confidence in the Washington Commanders as a viable NFL franchise. See, so now he's concerned about the direction of the franchise. If we invest this money and put this stadium here, then all of a sudden the team's up for sale. We're like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So what are we going to do? Because what if that owner decides to buy it, but then they're like, yeah, we bought them, but I don't really want this here in Virginia now. I want to be going somewhere else.
Right.
You know
Here's
what I mean?
the other thing about this whole situation that's happening. Is Dan Snyder trying to push this through? Because if this does happen, and we've seen it with every team, they get a new stadium, the price now is no longer here. Now the price jumps way the hell up here to sell it. So is he trying to push all this through and get a new stadium built before he's pushed out? So that way when they're like, oh, you have to sell it, okay, no problem. I'm going to sell it for double or triple the amount of what it used to be worth. So that's something to also keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely, because Mike Tackett's in here now on YouTube now, too. He's double dipping, Joe.
There he goes.
he goes,
what's going on, Mike?
He goes, Bezos, see right here, wants the Commanders at a discount price, even though he could literally buy every team in the league at once. But see, yeah, so maybe that's it. But Snyder's trying to, at least hold him off a little bit and say, well, if you're going to get them, I'm going to make you pay hard for it then, or something
I'm going to
like
get a new stadium, new digs.
That's something to look into. I mean, it's an interesting story there, and who knows? Maybe they will move on. They've showed before that some of these owners that they're ready to just rip the team from them and sell them and stuff, but surprisingly enough, even too, look at the Texans. For a while, I thought the owner was going to be swapped here, and they were going to boot him out for a while. But he's still there. So will some of these emails maybe that pop up after the whole trial here with John Gruden, will some of this stuff be leaked and exposed, and then is that when the hammer's going to drop on some of these teams, or some of these franchises, or just even the Washington Commanders
and
themselves?
That's the thing, too, is Roger Goodell was trying to get that notion put through of making it a private court case, and for not to be out in public. And it got denied, which is a huge win for Gruden going forward, because now Gruden's going to have the ability to maybe expose some of those emails that they've been hiding now out in the public. And, they're going to make requests based on, evidence that maybe the NFL didn't want to shed light on. They want to keep it a secret, so to prevent more black eyes or more bumps and bruises forming on the NFL shield. So this is a huge win for Gruden. Let's see where it goes now. And it's going to be a pretty awesome case. I have to admit, I definitely got to pay attention to this.
All right, absolutely. It's something to talk about. And just to let you guys know, too, we are also not only sponsored by Buck Environmental Solutions out there, but also we are sponsored by Raise, too. Don't forget to get your Raise energy drinks out there. Repsports.com. Hit the promo code Raise 'em up. That's right, spelled out just like that. You have to type it in there, Raise 'em up. You get your discount there. I just ordered some more Raise for myself, too, in the family. I know a couple other guys just did as well. Yeah. And remember, you won't get the discount unless you put that
if you
promo in there.
Enter that promo code, and you'll get 15% off your order.
Trust me, it helps.
They don't just sell energy drinks, too. I mean, they got a wide variety of products. And they also got to-go pouches, like little powder pouches.
Oh, yeah. They got all kinds of stuff, even for those heavy weightlifters and things, too.
I really like this product. I gotta admit. I mean, it's got no sugar. It's got amino acids. It's got, electrolytes in it. It's got a lot of good stuff in it that a lot of the other energy drinks don't have. And no crash either. It's amazing. So make sure you get some.
Oh, yeah. I used to drink Rockstar, Monster, all that stuff. I haven't gone back. Turn around.
Ain't going back.
Absolutely. So, so here we go. The other news, when we're talking about teams possibly leaving and moving situations and getting areas, it was also leaked out here, too, that, about the NFL. The deal when Sam Kroenke was going to move the Rams from St. Louis to Los Angeles, he went out there and was like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to cover the bill. I'm going to cover all this stuff. Don't worry about the expenses, blah, blah, blah. So now that the time has come for everything to start collecting here and stuff, he covered all the lawyers' fees and stuff, but he's like, no, I'm done. That's what I said I was doing. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought you were going to do this.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But now the NFL has stood by him, and now the NFL is taking $7.5 million from each franchise to help put money into that. Still, there's more money owed after that, because that only covered like another $250 million or something like that. So there's still money to be owed. So now they're
isn't it a $1 billion
stadium?
What
are you doing? And is this going to upset the other owners and be like, yo, what the hell, man? What just happened here? Because you go through, you made the move, you got your new stadium, you guys have a Super Bowl championship now, even too. You got your thing. Now what's going on? Now we're paying for all this right here.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My chunk of change. And again, you talk about rich owners and blah, blah, blah. It's only 7.5, but like they complain when they have to pay, $1 million fine for things like that, massage parlors that they go to and other things and deflated balls and stuff. But that's still just a little bit of chunk of change for something. I mean, yeah, they agreed to the move under one circumstance, but when you say you're going to pay for it all, then you only pay for a small fraction. That they ain't going to go for that.
I wonder if there's going to be any repercussions now after all this. The owners got to be pissed a little bit here.
Right?
All of them.
Like, I mean, all of a sudden,
there's got to be something like, oh, wait, you told us one thing, and now what just happened? You took $7.5 million out of me for what? Oh, so the Rams can move from St. Louis to L.A. Well, Stan Kroenke, I thought he was going to pay for it. No, he's not. Wait, something's not right here. Where are we going to get our money back then? So, I mean, there's got to be something that's going to happen down the road where Stan Kroenke is going to have to pay over time some of that money back. I mean, it's going to have to be kind of like a loan. You can't say like, oh, well, the NFL is going to take $7.5 million from each and every one of you owners and not give it back. I don't think that's going to be happening, but we'll wait and see. We're definitely going to monitor this story and see where it takes us.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Tackett says 5 years that Elon owns a team. Houston, Denver, or Dallas are on his target.
Denver's going to happen really soon. So if Elon wants Denver, he better get in the bidding right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, again, Denver's out there. Again, Houston and Dallas.
Possibly Washington.
But, dude, Dallas it's been brought up that
Dallas is not going anywhere.
Dude, he is not selling whatsoever. He's going to, you got to clinch it out of his dead fist. He is not getting rid of it. Mike Tackett
All
says
right.
he loves the Rays pre-workout.
Yeah,
oh,
buddy.
absolutely. Boom
stuff.
shakalaka. I love it, man.
Good
It's
stuff.
great. And yeah, they have a lot of other different products. So check it out. If you guys like the energy drinks, go into the other stuff. Like I said, I have switched, and not just because they're a sponsor and stuff, but I like it. Again, I love the hydration on top of the energy. You know what I mean? I feel good, and I don't feel like it's like going to my head like it's super sweet. Like, oh, man, now I need water.
They have some unique flavors that a lot of people in their taste buds, they're like, oh, it tastes like this.
They
No,
guessing
it
what
tastes
it
like
is.
that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool, selling point for them as well. They definitely have some unique flavors.
Absolutely. So, also in the news here, let's go through that.
In today's news,
hitting it, the Rooney Rule. What do you think about that, Joe?
The
change.
new Rooney Rule. I mean, they changed it now. Now they updated it basically, right? So now it's going to be required that before you hire a quarterback coach, now you have to interview a minority for that position for the quarterback coach. So it seems like all they're doing is going to continually to expand it to different positions on the staff, which is all well and good. And I know they're also making an effort for front office positions as well, but why not just announce it now and just say, well, it's required for all positions, because that's eventually what you're going to get to anyway. And we've kind of touched on this subject before about, I understand what the Rooney Rule is, what it was created to do, and try to introduce a different mindset or a different it was supposed to help more minorities get more jobs throughout the league. And honestly, it hasn't done its job. Yes, it's definitely gotten them interviews, but that's only half of what the rule has done. And the real purpose of it was to get more minorities in higher positions. And we said this before, we're going to say it again. If you want real change, it has to happen at the ownership level. So if you have a minority owner, that's when you're going to start to see a lot of that culture change, a lot of the change at the highest level there is in football. To have a minority owner that could have the ability to bring in more minority people up into those positions and giving them a legitimate shot.
Right.
Rather than you hear the rumors, Eric Bieniemy is going to be the next head coach. Byron Leftwich is going to be the next coach. And neither one of them, maybe Leftwich had an interview or two, but didn't get a job. And to be honest with you, Byron Leftwich deserves a shot at this point in his career.
Right.
So
And
until that minority change happens at the ownership level, you're not going to see a whole lot of it changing down below.
Right. And when we see that, I mean, we talk about how epic it was when Obama was elected to president, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and how
right.
changing that was because, again, so many white males being predominant as the president, that was kind of almost the mold, and not being part of that, status. And the thing that you're talking about is finally you talk about bringing them together, about being equal. Invite them to the table. You know what I mean? Be at the same table, not just here you guys go, you're the coaches now, or the GMs at the kiddies table. Now you're actually at a level playing field with us in ownership together, talking together, hashing it out. Now you're at the level with us here. Now it's even, you know what I mean? You could still move forward now from there. And like you said, because it still seems like they want to choose whoever they want to have these positions, to hold these positions. And that's why the NFL's been kind of doing their incentivizing. Here you go. Well, if you're a team that brings up the person, you get the thing, not the team that actually hires the guy and stuff. So they're trying to do it this way to still kind of even pay them off, kind of in a sense. Here, I'll dangle this. It's like a trade-off. Here, I'll give you
this. It's an incentive to hire.
Which I think is kind of ridiculous in itself. It's sad, I guess, that we have to go this route to do this type of thing, I guess, if that is really going to make it work. But you see with some of the changes that they've done, it still hasn't really worked. Because if there's a guy you really want, that's what guy you're going to get.
Right.
And are we certain that it's still a white thing or a racist thing that's the guy that they want to go with because it looks like them? It's a face of the franchise, in a coaching status. We don't know. We're not in those owners' heads. We're not in the guys that are running the thing. It looks like it at times, but we've also saw a greater influx of coaches or head coaches a few years back. And then now it's kind of died down, and I don't think that's because of a certain change in the way the world is and things like that. It's like all of a sudden now it's been, they're back to not accepting black coaches and same thing, and not thinking they're on the equal playing field.
There's a lot of old school mentality at that ownership level, and it trickles down with certain organizations. I'm not going to name names, but there's definitely racism still in with the old school type of thinking for some of these owners. They've probably been raised that way. So until they get removed from owning the team or having a higher status as a GM or a head coach, then it's not going to change. So when teams go out and they look for these new head coaches, new defensive coordinators, all those high-profile positions, even GM or front office, right? They go and they're like, okay, we have these lists of candidates that we all want to interview. They go in through the interview process, and then they're like, oh, well, we still got to follow the rules, so we're going to bring in X, Y, and Z for the interview. But we've already kind of made up our minds. We were already going to pick the third guy on this list who happens to be white, and we're just going to kind of do this so we can, abide by the rule, and then we're going to hire him later. So don't know how many times or how many decisions are made that are racist-driven throughout the league. There are some, but not all. But when teams want a certain coach, a certain staff member, they're going to get that guy. So understanding what the Rooney Rule is supposed to do, it's not doing its job. And it's not going to change anything. I don't care if they come out next season and say, well, now it applies to all positions in the NFL. You have to interview at least one minority person for any given position. Even if they come out with that, it's still not going to do what it's intended to do. Mm-hmm. And the only way, we said it before, the only way this is going to change is if one of these owners drop down, they sell the team to either a minority group or a minority. The majority holder will be a minority to own that team. And then that's when you're going to start to see some mindsets change, because now you have at least one at the table. You have one minority owner at the table who can give his honest opinion, his insight, and how he views how it's ran, from an insider's perspective. And then next thing you know, maybe 5-10 years down the road, now another minority owner is at that table. And now they're all talking, and maybe the mindset has to change at that level for all owners to have a minority at the head of the table and then have another one all of a sudden, and now they can all talk amongst each other and get a better sense of what is going on and what is wrong with the system that they have.
Mm-hmm. And again, unfortunately, that might just take generations passing on.
It's going to take time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you see some of these with the Detroit Lions. I mean, that woman, was the owner forever and stuff, and she still is, but she now has passed the torch down to her daughter to run the team the way she wants to do it. She's understood that she needs to change things about how it's going. Right. Maybe she needs to get a different sight through younger eyes, things like that. Yeah. And as you see, as we're developing, even as a country, as a whatever, a culture is changing rapidly here and there. Some of it's really fucked up and stuff like that right now and stuff, but others are, again, very accepting and things like as like that as well. And right. I think when you start getting down to these other generations that are past what these guys who have, again, because a lot of these teams are passed on through heritage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Their dads, their moms, or whatever, owners, boom, they're still alive, living. The Mara family, that's one of them too. John Mara, you know what I mean? Steve Tisch on the other side, he's just an investment owner. They're not really, it wasn't passed on through family there. He's an investment owner. When you get some of those other guys' takes on it, and it's a different type of feel, different type of point of view about it. And I think as maybe, again, the culture changes, but then also, again, generationally, things are moving forward, then I think things will be a little more progressive. And sadly, I think that's just what it is. But as you see some of these teams decide to move on, though, too, if they want to decide to sell, because that's what you saw with the Denver Broncos. Again, for the family to hold on to the team, it was shot down there too, so it goes up for sale now. You know what I mean? So then now it's out there. That same family isn't going to just keep passing on and owning that team.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be open.
The Bolin family. The problem with all that was, it was an inside family tiff, basically. So there were several relatives that wanted the majority ownership. And nobody could come to an agreement on who should be the leader type of deal. And in turn, they're like, well, it's not worth fighting over it as a family or whatever. Let's sell the team, and that way, we're done here. We're going to collect our money. Listen, very rich family, the Bowlen family.
Yeah.
So they don't need the money. But it's come time, with Pat Bowlen passing away and kind of like, so let's stop fighting. Let's just sell the team. That's what they've decided to do. So, yeah, Denver's up for grabs. Washington is possibly up for grabs later on down the road. I mean, there's teams that are out there, and it doesn't happen. It's not common that teams are for sale. So when they are, it's a rarity type of opportunity.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot of these interested either celebrities or businessmen, businesswomen, like. They're all going to come in droves, having interest for these teams. Just to own one is a precious commodity. So let's see if like the Jay-Z's come out of the woodworks. Let's see if someone with star power and a lot of money, maybe they can get together to kind of get over this hurdle to finally have a minority owner.
Right, and maybe we will see with the changes that they're making. We will see a few more hires here and there again, but I think altogether it's a mindset. And I think they just still feel, though, even in their choosing process, if they feel this is the guy that they want, that I think will still get them to win. Because ultimately, these teams want to be able to sell tickets, want to be able to win and be competitive. It's not like they're like, well, this guy's the third best guy there, but he looks like me or he's white or whatever, so I want to go with him. I mean, I think they're just going to go with something they feel is successful and still they think will work and help the franchise. And I think even when you look at some of the hirings, it's somebody that came from a respected franchise or very successful franchise, and those particular franchises happen to not hire a lot of minorities as their coaches. I mean, look at the Patriots. Everybody's trying to grab Patriots coaches and things like that from theirs. Well, all their coordinators. Very rarely that they have a minority coach for their defense, and
the only one that comes to mind
offense,
is Patrick Graham.
Patrick Graham, right?
Oh, and man, this is going way back. I just pictured him. Oh, I'm not gonna remember.
Well, you're not gonna remember now. Way to go! But no, I hear what you're saying. But you know what I mean? Things like that. Everybody's going for the the Patriots,
right.
and then they had a lot of coaches.
Listen, if you're new to the show and you haven't followed us or subscribed to us, make sure you head over to YouTube or Facebook. Make sure you do the damn thing. Hit become a member, become a know-it-all, and let us know down in the comment section below if you added us, if you wanted to follow the show. But also, if you're on anywhere you get your podcasts, that's right. We are also all over the place on the podcast spectrum. Anywhere, iTunes, Spotify. We're even on video Spotify, have you know it. But anywhere you get your iTunes or anywhere you get your podcasts, anything, just follow us there as well. And listen, we love to be interactive, so please comment down below. Let us know you're alive. Let us know you're here to talk some football.
Absolutely. Joe, so you want to let people know on everything. Why don't you tell everybody here about our friends at Johnstone Supply?
Yeah, Johnstone Supply. Listen, if you haven't heard about Johnstone Supply, let me tell you a little bit about them. Listen, they're a magnificent company, first and foremost. Second of all, they are locally here in the Capital Region, 6th Avenue in Troy, New York. Make sure you go there. Listen, you can call them, 518-272-5922, if you want to give them a little ring-a-ding and ask some questions. If you have any questions about your furnace, about your air conditioner. These guys are the pros to go to. So
Absolutely.
you can call right now for pricing on John Goodman Central Air Conditioners. Or if you're looking to go with the Fujitsu Mini Splits, they got them too. I mean, listen, they got a lot of different things there for you. They even got some knowledge for you they can drop on you.
Boom.
Head over, give them a phone call. They're there to help. Other than that, and just a reminder, I have to say this too. They have the lowest prices on Milwaukee tools guaranteed. That's right, guaranteed, baby. Guaranteed. You can find a cheaper price for that tool, they'll match it, no problem.
Boom. Absolutely.
Best
Johnstone
quality
Supply in
products at unbeatable prices. That's Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York, 6th Avenue in Troy, New York. Or to learn more, call them, baby. Call them. Johnstone Supply, 518-272-5922 for all your needs with air conditioning and heating. They're your guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We love those guys there. Johnstone Supply, they're big football fans too as well. Tom, he's a big Notre Dame fan, so him and I go at it here
Notre
and there.
Dame?
Like, I don't know what's wrong with him, but yeah, man, they love it. We love talking to those guys. Hopefully we'll see them real soon at the next events that we're planning here. But there you go. We got the music rolling, Joe. We're going to have some fun now.
All right, let's go.
We like to do, stock rise and fall and things like that.
Stock
buy
up, stock
and
down.
Buy and sell and things like that.
Talk about it.
So this week, we're going to take a look at the NFC quick. We're going to roll through and just take a look at these teams after the draft is all over. We've had some free agency going on here. Still a lot to do. It's going to be June 1st pretty soon. You're going to see a lot of big changes there too. And a lot of money's going to come off the books and things, so they could be really active around that time. But right now, after the draft is all said and done here, we're going to take a look at these teams quick and see how they really looked. After all that, did they do better? Is their draft, if they're stock up, or is it kind of falling right now? So let's take a look at the NFC East first, Joe.
That's it.
And who do we got first here?
Dallas
The
Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about the Cowboys here. Now, here, for me, I don't necessarily think their stock is going up or down. I feel like they're still stagnant. They're still kind of even keeled. They're like flatlined. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say they're flatlining right now. They're not going up. They're not going down. To me, it's kind of a prove-it year for the Cowboys for me. Listen, they've gone through a couple of different changes. Amari Cooper's no longer there. It looks like C.D. Lamb is going to be the go-to guy now only. Michael Gallup's still going to be that playmaking type of receiver that he is. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year, and other than that, like their defense, I feel like is going to be a little bit better this year now being in the same defensive scheme. It's more like a 4-2-5, and they've adapted to it over the last couple of seasons. So the only question I really have is how much better is this offensive line is it going to be? They drafted Tyler Smith from Tulsa, who was projected to be a tackle. But what's interesting is when you look at the depth chart, according to OurLads.com.
Shout out to Our Lads.
Yeah, a little shout out there. But they have him penciled in at guard, which is interesting. So me and Jim, when we were doing our analysis on Smith here, Mr. Smith, we noticed he was a little grabby at times, holding a little bit. And we're like, that could be a problem if they put him at right tackle at the next level, trying to block these very fast pass rushers. So it looks like they're going to move him to guard maybe. And if that's the case, it might fit him better. So a little better of a fit there, but they still got to worry, I feel like, a little bit on that right tackle position. It looks like Terrence Steele is penciled in to be the starter at right tackle for them. And all in all, I think that's the biggest question mark for the Cowboys. And to me, it's a prove-it year. That's why I got them flatlining.
All right. Oh, flatlining. So it's just the stock is just still.
It's still the same.
It's still the same.
Because even though with the changes that they made, there's still question marks. How are they going to respond after last year? You know what I mean? Is Trayvon Diggs the real deal? You know what I mean? He had one big year. Let's see if he can continue that this season. And with the slight change at the receiving corps spot, are they still going to be the same offense?
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at here, too. When you look at CeeDee Lamb now, he's moving out of that second number 2 spot. Now he's got to be asked to be that number 1 guy. Right. And we've seen other wide receivers trying to move up from the spot. Juju Smith-Schuster, stuff like that, have to move into his spot. So how are they going to do without somebody like Amari Cooper there?
Right. To be honest with you, Amari Cooper's faster, I feel like, than CD. And CD ran a 4.5 at his combine, which is average speed. is he going to be able to go ahead and attack the deeper portion of the field? Or is he going to be limited to short to intermediate is where he does his most damage? So with that all being said, and then you got to worry about Tony Pollard. This is another guy who's still sitting behind Zeke. At what point in time do the Cowboys start to get him more touches in the backfield? Because he was very dynamic last year when he got the opportunity.
All right, yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm looking at these guys, too. Same thing. Defense, they grab, Fowler Jr., too, also on the defensive side. Dan Quinn did a pretty good job with those guys. And Micah Parsons burst on the scene right away. It looked really nice for them to get that as a pass rusher for them. So I think they're pretty set there, too, right now in their aspect. Stefon Diggs, I want to say Diggs, though, in the back, Trayvon Diggs in the back, very opportunistic last year. I don't know if he's going to be so lucky this year. I see him taking a little bit of a step back here, too. So I'm going to say they're probably staying the same here. I don't think their stock is really going up or not. You're going to see that unfold, I guess, within the season as it goes, because with high expectations every single year, how it's going to go, and they don't
Cowboys
meet
fans
it all
are going
the time.
to the Super Bowl every year.
They're feeling their stocks up, but then it plummets as the playoffs roll around.
The biggest problem for Dan Quinn right now is you need to put Micah Parsons at the end. When he was playing the end last year, was absolutely dynamite. A monster off the edge, was just destroying the pocket. So that would be the best decision for him. And then you could slide in the rookie that they just got this year in Damone Clark, who is starting to ascend on the step chart. He could easily take his place. So,
all right, next up we've got for the NFC East. Now we've got the New York Football Giants here, Joe. Again, for me, this stock is still pretty low for me. I mean, I understand what they did for the draft. They go out and get a pass rusher. They get offensive line, so that all sounds good. John Feliciano, too, also in free agency. A lot of these former Buffalo Bills here, too. But still, the question marks, especially through now these OTAs and stuff like that, you're still hearing about these injuries. Kadarius Toney, other wide receivers not showing up because of injuries and things like that. Well, not sure about Saquon Barkley, too. Again, is he going to be able to stay healthy this full season? There's a lot of different potential here. You've got a show me year for Daniel Jones and stuff, but I think stock is low, so I'm going to say, again, that's it. Flat out stock low right now, but it might be a buyer's market if you do decide to buy into it, as the season goes. But the injury bug has plagued this team nonstop, so I'm not expecting a whole lot.
All right. So first off, what I'll say is kudos to the Giants for having a really good draft and for revamping this offensive line, which has been an absolute sieve for the longest amount of time. Not only did they manage to get Evan Neal, a lockdown tackle for them, now you have bookend tackles with Andrew Thomas and Neal, both young, both can grow together. And John Feliciano is a very underrated lineman that they managed to grab in free agency. He was a Pro Bowl level type of a lineman, and they managed to get him. I think this offensive line, you're going to see a drastic change now in terms of play on the football field. And in doing so, you're going to allow Daniel Jones to have a lot more time. And with these weapons that he has, now let's see what this Buffalo-esque type of offense is going to look like with Jones, throwing the football and dispersing it. So as far as the question goes for Barkley, no one knows how healthy a guy's going to be. Let's wait and see if he can stay healthy. And we notice that's been his track record thus far is he hasn't been able to stay healthy for a season. For a full season, besides maybe his rookie year.
Like I said, there's a lot of potential. I mean, you get to we could see. Well, deadly. Not even just with him. I'm just saying with the team altogether, because we didn't get to see even a full season of Blake Martinez either. And how he was starting off for the season last year was really well. He was there stopping the run. He was all over the ball.
Right.
Now you add, Thibodeau on top of that. You've got Jay Crowder there now too to add into the backfield too at the linebacker position. They do lose, Bradbury and stuff like that, so that's a suspect spot over there on the opposite side of the corner, opposite of Adoree Jackson. But again, maybe they motion and move in Xavier McKinney like they've done before in the past into like a slot corner here and there, in and out, where he was doing very well for, I think, even the NFC. He might have tied for the most interceptions in the NFC or somewhere close. He was getting pretty well with the interceptions. So he did really good for them on that aspect, not even just playing the safety position. But again, so many questions. I gotta say their stock's low. So what do you think? Lower or
I'm going to say stock is going up because to me this team is going to trend upwards for me. And the reason why is because they've made not just made adjustments, they've made the right adjustments to this point. So new coaching staff, new GM, better players on the roster usually means that you're going to be playing better. Let's wait and see if that happens. But another player that not a whole lot of people are talking about is Azeez Ojulari, who's going to be another premier pass rusher opposite another rookie in Kayvon Thibodeau. So I think this defense, we already seen what they could do with Graham there. Now with a little bit more improved of a roster on both sides of the ball, let's see where this kind of Buffalo staff is going to take this team.
All right, yeah. Let's move on now to the Philadelphia Eagles here, Joe. Last year they started doing some pretty good things here. We saw Devonta Smith start to get really a good relationship here with Jalen Hurts. But again, that guy, he sees some really good plays, and does pretty well. But again, sometimes a lot for him, you're seeing he's missing some of the reads. That's his main issue, I think, at the quarterback spot, where he misses some guys who are like, oh, if he only was looking at this or saw this, he would have had this opportunity. Instead, he ends up scrambling out away from the play, and it's a dead play kind of, and just they settle for whatever he can get them. But now the team has made a lot of good moves here, whether the draft, whether it be trades. He's got some more weapons now. He's got A.J. Brown there on top of it as well. And then also the moves on defense here with Hassan Reddick, but then also stealing now with the Giants releasing Bradbury. Bradbury's on this team now to face his team twice. I mean, I said to me, like, that's all I don't want, and that's what they get. And this is what happens. See, this is what happens with my life all the time and being a Giants fan. I'm like, oh, man, really? You got to do this to me? But they're looking really good right now. I got to say stock's high here for the Eagles right now. I hate to say it, but it does. It looks pretty good.
And that's the way it looks. I mean, you look at this defense, which had its weak spots last season, mostly at linebacker. But other than that, they pick up Nakobe Dean late in this past draft, who, I thought after they got taken by the Eagles in the third round, I'm like, wow, he slid that far down? I'm impressed that he did. They also go ahead and they have Hassan Reddick to go ahead and rush off the edge. Jordan Davis, a massive mountain of a man from the draft. He's going to plug in the middle at D-tackle. Now, what's scary is they also have Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. So that rotation of big men in the middle, good luck moving them. And on top of that, just like Jim was mentioning, not only did they get Bradbury, but they still have Darius Slay on the other side of them. So their defense got way better. And then their offense got even better when they traded for A.J. Brown.
Right.
And teaming him up with Devontae Smith and some of the other younger receivers that they have. Solid offensive line, a younger offensive line. They've gotten rid of the old, and now they got some young players there. Jalen Hurts can take his game to the next level this season. And we've noticed, I'm not so hard on Hurts as some other, like maybe Eagles fans or people on the outside. I think he's still developing as a quarterback. And we're going to see him continually to get better. I think this is the year where he's going to take that another giant step for himself. But the Eagles are one of those dangerous teams, so stock up for me.
All right, now moving on to the newly named Washington Commanders. I got it this time, so it's going to take a little while. I'm still going to screw it up every now and then.
Just get it right before week one.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we got the Commanders here. Again, Jahan Dotson here in the draft. Terry McLaurin now, he's holding out, it seems like, too. So what kind of how will this play out? Again, right now it's voluntary OTAs, but when OTAs really kick in, where you need to be there, we'll see what happens with that, if he's going to hold out on them. But again, he's got to be their star. Maybe we'll see a full season of Curtis Samuel, too, for these guys.
That'd be nice, right?
Logan Thomas, you also stay healthy here, buddy, so you can help them out. But the main question that has really got me with this team is, again, the switch from quarterback.
Gotta say.
Taylor Heineke, yes, he's only a year younger than Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz has just basically since his second season, really, has been just trailing off, making poor decisions, getting injured, with trying to just put the weight of the team on his back, not really working out for them. And the defense, they took a step back last season too, but they had a lot of injuries here and there. Also, we didn't get to see a full season of Chase Young, so bring him back. We'll see what they can do. But not a lot of faith for me in the Commanders here. Especially because last year I wanted to see what they could do with a true starting quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Don't have that in Carson Wentz. You saw what happened with that the Colts team. They put him in that playoff game. Big implications, and he crapped the bed. I don't really have that type of confidence in him, and he's the reason why the stock is low for me.
Yeah, I don't have confidence at all in Carson Wentz, at all. But what I do have confidence in is this team as a whole. Their defense should be, now if they can get back to the where they were playing late last season, that's what you want to see from this defense. This defense 2 years ago was ascending. It was being seen as one of those dominant type of defenses with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And then for whatever reason last year, I don't know if it was a curse from Fitzpatrick's injury or what, but they did not look like the same defense that they once were. And then later in the season, it seemed like they got back to gelling together and playing a lot better, even without Chase Young. Insert Chase Young back into the lineup. Week 1, this is where we're going to keep our eye on this defense to see if it returns back to its stubborn ways against opponents. But I really do like the improvements that they've made on the defensive side of the ball, and I like what they've done in receiving with the rookie from Jahan Dotson coming from Penn State. Very fast, elusive type of receiver. But Terry McLaurin, I fully expect him to show up when it is mandatory. I still think they're going to work on this long-term deal in the contract during the season and watch for him to ball out. I don't like Wentz, but I love this team that they have around him. So I think I'm going to give them a trending up, not because of Wentz, but I just think that the team got better all around, and all Wentz has to do is not do too much to screw this up. So let's see if he can manage that.
All right, here we go. Let's move on now to the NFC North here. We've got the Chicago Bears, Joe.
Oh, the Bears.
Again, now a new head coach. They got Eberflus there as a head coach, so we get to see maybe a whole different type of offense here. The Nagy years are done here.
About time.
Yeah, everything.
Way to catch
GM,
up to everybody else.
But looking at this team now it's Justin Fields' team definitely all together here, but a whole lot of average, just I think wide receivers here. Not really a whole lot to help him out. I mean, Byron Pringle, Quimpius St. Brown too. He's okay. Darnell Mooney I really like, but again, there's not really a whole lot of big that upper echelon type of guys.
Yeah.
David Montgomery here solidifying the running back situation here, but now you're losing some of the guys here on defense in the front here that would help, like Khalil Mack and stuff like that, and those guys. Now you don't have that situation here. Now you're sitting there still with Robert Quinn, guys like that, and Roquan Smith. But I think you lost a bit here on defense, and even though you go and draft Kyler Gordon here and Brisker here at the safeties positions, I think they're going to be a little setback here on the defensive side and can't really bail out that offense if Justin Fields can get things going here. So I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this Bears team again. So I'm just setting the bar low here. Again, I think stock's very low in this team.
What's interesting to me is that there's been a big turnover on the roster this year for Chicago. New regime, new faces coming from new places. It's a little disturbing if you're a Chicago Bears fan, because this kind of shows you like, hey, we are not in win mode just yet. It almost seems like they're rebuilding now because they get rid of Khalil Mack.
Right.
And Khalil Mack, to be fair, was aging. And with the high salary that he was commanding, there's not really too much that they were going to be able to do. So they had to ship him out the door. He ends up being a Charger. And this team right now is going through what I view as more of a rebuilding phase than it is like, let's just retool and try to win right now with a young Justin Fields.
Oh, absolutely.
So for me, the Bears are trending downward for me, and it's only because that they're in that little bit of a phase. Now it's like they got to retool, rebuild this roster up in order to compete for this division. There are a couple of notable players that were lower on other depth charts that are now projected to be starters, like a Byron Pringle.
Right.
A Byron Pringle from the Chiefs, who I think is going to be a really good receiver for them and underrated. Darnell Mooney is going to finally be the number one guy. Let's see if he can handle that workload, and other players as well. So let's see what they can do with what they have at their disposal.
All right, next up we've got the Detroit Lions here. Lions surprised me a lot of times last year.
Definitely.
Definitely.
They surprised me.
Yeah, Dan Campbell and stuff. And, they put their hearts out on the field like every time that they played, too. And a few upsets last year, too, with them, too. So another year under Dan Campbell and things like that. I think they're going to gel more. They've gotten some fresh guys in there as well to help out Jared Goff and things. So we'll see how they go. Again, I'm really kind of trending upwards, I think, on this team too. I mean, I think they've been down and just such a bad franchise for so long. But between making some of the trades that they have and some of the moves they made, especially in the draft too as well, and to grab who they could, I think with the positions where they were, I think they did an excellent job. And again, like I said, under the radar type of moves, maybe you can see. The guy they end up getting from Jacksonville again, DJ Chark. Maybe we could see him, excel back to that starter level here with a Jared Goff and stuff too. So, I mean, I think the stock can be pretty high with these guys, because, again, starting at the bottom, but really showed a lot of class last season and a lot of heart playing for Dan Campbell, putting it all out there. I think that can only make them move forward here.
And that's the better word is heart, because, they had a lion heart for last season. And for them to come together as a group relatively quickly under Dan Campbell's leadership, and they really kind of bought into being that tough, tenacious type of football team last year, even though a lot of people viewed them as a team that wasn't even going to put much up of a fight. They really did. They had a ton of very close games, basically like within a field goal, and to determine, they were kind of like a 500 team by the end of the season. But a lot of people expect them to be like really bad. They expect them to only have like 4 wins.
Yeah,
for
they
the
beat a lot of those playoff teams, or even brought it close.
They really proved themselves last year and what they had then. Now they not only improved this roster, just like Jim mentioned, DJ Chark comes in on a 1-year prove-it deal. Can he stay healthy? And that's going to be a huge, proponent for Jared Goff to throw to. Not to mention the rookie that they got when they got him in the first round, Jamison Williams, who, to be honest with you, if he was fully healthy coming into the draft, would have been the number 1 receiver taken. And the Lions just happened to fall in their laps. So kudos to them on that draft pick, and also Aiden Hutchinson to bring a premier elite type of pass rusher to this much-needed defensive line. So you got 2 premier draft picks, that guys on both sides of the ball that are going to make big plays for this team. So and we've seen them kind of improve this offensive line as well. Like we talked about it last year, like if they could just improve the O-line somehow, they could be even more dominant. So let's wait and see what this Lions team is going to look like on the football field, be it versus on paper. But I do see a little bit more wins in the future for the Lions.
All right.
Trending upward for me.
Nice, I like it. All right, here we go. How's the stock on the Green Bay Packers here, Joe? Again, they lock in Aaron Rodgers.
Let's talk about this
is funny, too, because, again, you lock in Aaron Rodgers, but then you go and trade Devontae Adams here. And then even in the draft, a lot of analysts have said they did really well in the draft and stuff like that, which, I mean, I think they did all right here, too, but still, I think not addressing some of the situations that they really have. I mean, yes, they go and get Christian Watson here in the second round, but then you're still looking at Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb as your slot receiver. Not too big on that and stuff like that. But then you got sneaky Sammy Watkins here, too. Maybe he can have a showing here and maybe move up that depth chart a little bit here over top of Randall Cobb. Getting some guys here on defense, a linebacker, DN situation here too. But this team, I think, is on borrowed time right now with the way it's been interacting with Aaron Rodgers, with the GM here in Gutekunst, and then also Matt LaFleur here. How long is this going to mend together and really blend? Because they made it to, I think it was even back-to-back NFC championship games, or at least close, not last season, but the season before. Right there. to be on the doorstep of getting that Super Bowl that they've kind of almost promised these Green Bay Packers fans that they were going to do, and now you're not going to do it with your star wide receiver here. So what's to show that you're not going to even get as far as you did last season here with less, in my opinion here.
Well, I think the offense is going to be the biggest difference than what we were accustomed to seeing from Green Bay. Obviously, because Davante Adams is no longer there, and now they need to find a new big-time threat at the number one receiver position. And I just don't simply see it being the rookie Christian Watson just yet. He still needs to further develop his game. Like, listen, when he was in college, they didn't really throw to him a ton. It was more of a running type of offense, which he wasn't really a part of. He was more of a blocker than he was receiving threat. So he needs to work on his route running, and he's going to develop over the course of some games, but he's not going to have those little bit of tendencies that Davante had, or maybe make the right read on the defense where Aaron Rodgers might get frustrated, because it's like, oh, how come you didn't read the same thing I read? You know what I mean?
Yep.
On that play. So there's going to be a little bit of frustration early on, I feel like, from Aaron Rodgers not having Adams in the building anymore, and he might not have that. He's not going to have that same connection to a rookie or to maybe even some of these players that have been there, like Alan Lazard. He does have a connection with him, but it's not the same. It's not. There's nobody under Watson, even though he's a rookie and hasn't been proven yet. There's nobody under Watson on this receiving core that is a dynamic threat. You know what I mean? That has speed, or they're just phenomenal route runners. So that's going to limit this team. Talk about Sammy Watkins, like you brought him up. Very quick, had a lot of speed, but now he's aging. So how much speed does he still have after injury after injury after injury that he sustained? So there's a lot more question marks, I feel like, on this offense than there are defense. The defense got stronger. They've kind of really built that up with the draft, with Quay Walker now being drafted from them, Devontae Wyatt coming from Georgia, who is a perfect counterpart to Kenny Clark already there on the D-line.
And what do you think about even the
secondary?
Jumping onto the running back situation, that's where their kind of strength is on the offense. If you saw what A.J. Dillon was capable of doing, and we know how Aaron Jones is.
Right.
I mean, do they flex them both out at the same time in different slot spots, in a receiving game, get it going to get this offense geared around the run game, so instead of even Aaron Rodgers in the passing game, to alleviate some of that stress?
I'm not 100% sure that they're going to line up Jones out in the slot, because that's where they have Randall Cobb. I don't think they're going to do too much changes in terms of that. I do see them having twin backs, maybe. Having Godzilla on the right side, and then you have Aaron Jones on the left side.
Yep.
And maybe you're not really sure who's going to get the ball, or maybe they're going to throw it to one of them. You know what I mean? So they're going to play with that kind of create some plays for those players out of the backfield. But again, this is what's going to be the hardest part, is teams' defenses are going to key on their running game. They're going to try to make – I know this sounds weird, but they're going to try to make the Packers a one-dimensional team and almost dare Rodgers to try to beat their defense with these other receivers that they have now. No longer have the
run or do whatever.
No longer have a fear of Davante Adams that they got to worry about. Because even when they double-teamed him, it didn't work. Now it's like, all right, we're gonna try to shut down your running game and passing out of the backfield. Let's see you beat us with these receivers that you got now.
Yeah, so I mean, for the Green Bay Packers, to
me they're trending downward.
Yeah, I was gonna say the stock is kind of low right now. Again, they're expected to do well and stuff, but just because it is Aaron Rodgers and the franchise the way it has been successful, but again, with losing some of the things that they have. It's a big question mark.
And we're not saying that they're going to be a bad team. That's not
exactly.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
We're just talking about where they're trending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the other thing that I'll mention too is that Rodgers hasn't been the healthiest, at this stage in his career. Seems like he's always playing with a nicked up foot or an ankle.
And it's
or a knee.
even right now, if you look at it. Now, say if they did go and get some of those wide receivers that are still out there, even too in free agency. We're just talking about right now and moves that they've made in this offseason so far. So
Julio Jones
first, somebody like that, a good reliable guy that might be a little older, longer in the tooth, but still, again, has the smarts, knows can pick up the playbook and just go and kind of be that go-to guy to go up and get it.
I think Julio Jones is like a shoo-in. It would make all the sense in the world right now.
Absolutely. All right, so move on to the Minnesota Vikings here. And again, they're moved on with their head coach. So they got a whole new coach in Kevin O'Connell here. Justin Jefferson, it showed that he could be that, boom, number one guy here over top of Adam Thielen here. They didn't miss Stephon Diggs in a heartbeat at all. But these guys, looking pretty solid, but not being able to get over that hump. And this is the thing is that's always kind of haunted this team. The Kirk Cousins deal hasn't really paid off, hasn't paid dividends. You want to talk about buying stock, investing in the stock and stuff like that, and paying dividends. This investment in Kirk Cousins hasn't paid their dividends, so much that it's even got their head coach fired too on top of things. They do go and make some moves and get Zadarius Smith in the offseason here too. They got Jordan Hicks too. So they're trying to help out that defense who has been aging a little bit, but they only fill it in with some other guys. But they're still kind of in that spot to me that they're still kind of the same old team in that mediocre spot until you can kind of get over that hump for me. I really like the personnel that they have on offense in here, but I'm not so sure about that defense. Dalvin Tomlinson has looked good for the Giants at times, but I see the different movements on defense, but I'm not sure what I'm going to get out of that. So I think stock's low in this team for me.
For the Vikings, they've kind of been like a mediocre 500-ish type of team for a while, and that's kind of where Zimmer, even though he had a winning culture when he was the head coach there, he just couldn't get over that hurdle, like you mentioned. Like he just couldn't get past, not only make it into the playoffs, but get farther in, get to the championship game, and maybe even get into the Super Bowl at least. He just couldn't get over that hurdle there. So they bring in a new regime. There's going to be a little bit of a period of time for the Vikings where they're going to have to try to get used to a lot of changes now. New offensive scheme, new defensive scheme, and there's a lot of different faces now on this roster. So with that being said, it's going to come down to how fast they can digest the offensive playbook and the defensive playbook to see where they truly can be as a team. I think offensively, they're still going to be solid. They're going to be okay. I mean, they got great weapons with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? Like, they have weapons to put up points. And their offensive line is getting younger and better. So I don't have any real questions about offense. But when you talk about defense, because of there's so many new faces, you don't know how this defense is going to come together. And hopefully for their sake, it can come together relatively quickly. If so, this team could be trending upwards. If not, this team could just be a flatline type of team and just stay the course and be like a mediocre team going into the season. But for me, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that they're going to be trending upwards with this new regime in place, and let's see where they can head.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to switch up, not even say the stock is low. I'm going to say it's about neutral, just because, again, this is the time to strike because look at the Green Bay Packers even too. You're not sure what even is going to happen without that offense. So if you balance their offense, I say that I've got the Minnesota Vikings higher on the offensive situation, even though Kirk Cousins there stuff.
And there's more familiarity with them.
But again, that defense, the question marks, they did attack the things in the draft too by getting Booth, and they got Seen too as well in the secondary. So again, a lot of new faces, got to be proven to do what they do, and that's where I think Green Bay kind of has a lot of the same guys there coming back and more gelled here, same defensive coordinator. So that's the balancing act. Yeah, right? It's kind of the balancing act. So yeah, that's why I'll move it up to like a stay balanced. But again, they have a high ceiling. So here, let's move on now. Oh, before we get on to the next division, I want to tell you guys about my friends at Mohawk Honda. Joe, that's right, Mohawk Honda. I love Mohawk Honda. I tell you guys all the time. I see them. I drive by them all the time, every day by work.
Do you wave, though?
I do. I smile every time I go by Mohawk Honda. And I wave and
Smile
hope that
and
they might see me there.
Smile and wave, boy.
I'm actually, it's terrible because I tell you, keep your eyes on the road stuff, but my neck is always turned looking at the inventory that's there, Joe. I'm looking at see what the new inventory they're rolling in every day and stuff, and the new stuff that they're doing for the community, Joe. They always help out the community. They also own Mohawk Chevrolet, which is just up the road a bit in Malta, and they had the thing for the Special Olympics today, and had the athletes there and signing autographs and stuff like that, and all the Albany Empire was there too as well, and they passed around a big football between the athletes of the Special Olympics and the football team, and they're going to auction off the autographed memorabilia, and the money raised from that's going to go to charities and stuff like that.
Very
I
cool.
think, and this is the thing that the Harridan family does here for Mohawk Honda and the community and Mohawk Chevrolet. There's all about helping out the community and the people, and it's all about you there at Mohawk Honda. They go out of their way to please you, and that's their slogan because that's what they really do. They care about you out there. They're not some guys out there see you walk on the lot. Instantly, there's a guy in your face like, hey, what's up? What are you looking for? Yeah, I can get you in this and get you that. Da-da-da. Hey, let's sit down. Let's work the numbers. They're just like, hey, man, check it out. Tell us what you think. I'm here if you need me. Blah, blah. Let me know what you're into. There you go. Or even you can just go to MohawkHonda.com. You can put in the make and model of your vehicle. Get the Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer right there, over there on the spot on the internet before you even leave your house. If you want to get a test drive, look at the car that you want. Order the test drive. They come drive and pick you up in that car, and they'll do the test drive right there.
That's cool. You
don't need to go there at all. Even that say, hey, you come to me, baby, and that's what they do because they care about you out there. Mohawk Honda, sales professionals out there to get you in the car that you want, the budget that you like, that fits your lifestyle. MohawkHonda.com, and they're on Freeman Bridge Road. Check them out, and also follow them on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff to see all the great things they're doing with the community.
And don't forget to mention us.
Ooh, don't forget to mention. You heard about from the Football on the No Show.
That's right.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's get to a team that doesn't do very well, for their fan base and stuff. We talk about the Atlanta Falcons here, Joe. Again, this a lot of head scratchers, I think, altogether with this team. What's funny is they still go draft wide receiver here, which we kind of knew they were going to go wide receiver, but it ends up being London Drake.
London.
Yeah, Drake London. Sorry.
Don't
they
be
go
disrespectful.
they get Brian Edwards though here, which I kind of like that little move here from Vegas and stuff. But if you look at their wide receiver core altogether, it's very dull. Not a whole lot going on. But again, maybe Auden Tate can kind of jump into there. You know what I mean? That's a nice little hidden spot. We saw it where a team was revolving around Cordarrelle Patterson last year, and they've now traded away Matt Ryan. But then you fit in Marcus Mariota. Now, what is the timeline on Mariota? You know me, I'm not a big fan of Mariota. I know you like maybe the situation that he had there with the Raiders and stuff, and they had a lot of big fans for him here. But they also let you know that in the third round, they go and get Desmond Ridder here, which a lot of people are high on. Like you said, and that's a good steal here. So, I mean, what's it going to take here? How long are we going to see Marcus Mariota here at the helm the whole season? Is he going to get injured? Is the offense really going to roam around like him now being part of the run game? Because you didn't have that with Matt Ryan. He's not a threat to maybe take off run. He's not running the pistol offense. So I got to tell you this, for Arthur Smith, being like we talked about him when he got the head coaching spot here for the Titans, he was that career type of tight ends coach or this coach and that coach. Not really that guy, but when he got into that head coaching spot, he was like, that's it. I'm going to be that guy that's going to be asking for help. When he was the offensive coordinator for the Titans.
Afraid to.
Yeah. Well, how am I going to run plays here? What am I going to do here? Do that. Think outside the box. Ask for help. Get it going. And lo and behold, we had Cordarrelle Patterson being a guy that was a major, staple in this offense, which I don't think anybody ever saw that coming at all.
No one anticipated.
A guy who's kind of been floating around on rosters that have been that kick returner type of guy, stuff like that. Not a star wide receiver anymore, but main focal point. So you've got him there with Marcus Mariota. So that's the one thing I'm watching with this team. Again, not a whole lot of talent, though, for wide receivers there. So what are we going to see? We're going to see mainly running here in this offense. And then, again, trying to do some things here on defense where they're kind of, I think, in build mode, too, where, also you got Deion Jones, their star, is still recovering from injury. A lot of just question marks with this team here still. Didn't do very well last year, but maybe they take a whole different type of, what's identity this year. So I'm just going to say stock's really low on this team. Maybe you buy it pretty soon. You know what I mean?
So
Because who
real
knows?
quick-
Maybe he can get it turned around.
Real quick, I have to disagree with you on the receiver part, though, because there's a lot of, like, lower-tier names, but with big-time potential. Like,
right?
Auden Tate.
I get you there.
Auden
yeah,
Tate
that's,
is going.
I'm saying there.
Listen, I've watched him ball out for the Bengals. You know what I mean? I like the guys not only have tremendous size, and this is kind of what I kind of kind of make a suggestion here for the Falcons is stop trying to make a basketball team, because that's what it seems like they're trying to do. I mean, when you got a guy like Drake London who's like near 6'5", and then you got Auden Tate who's a 6'4" receiver, and then you have Brian Edwards who's like 6'3". It seems to me that they're going for a lot of size at that receiving core, and when you have a lot of these physical, big type of wide receivers, and don't forget Olamide Zaccheaus, who actually burst on the scene last year and kind of was helping out Matt Ryan when Calvin Ridley wasn't around. So they have some lower tier names, but I feel like they're going to make big impacts this season for this team. They did pull off a trade for Brian Edwards from Vegas, who I see him still as more of like a possession guy, shouldn't be played outside. But if you got Drake London on one side, you have Auden Tate maybe or Zaccheaus on the other side, and then in the slot you have Brian Edwards. I think that's a pretty darn good receiving core and kind of under the radar there for them. They have a solid offensive line. And you bring up Marcus Mariota. There's a reason why they signed him. You know, Arthur Smith has big-time familiarity with him, and already Mariota knows the offense. Like, he's already familiar with it. He can jump right in and kind of take the torch and run the offense the way it needs to be run. The Desmond Ridder draft pick was an absolute steal in my eyes, taking him in the third round, and we've already heard accolades coming out of OTAs of him and saying they're really impressed with him. They like what they see in him, and I think it's all going to be depending on how fast Ridder can learn the offense, because that seems to be the theme for any young quarterback that comes in with a chance to maybe get that starting position. Marcus Mariota, nothing against him, but when they drafted a young potential candidate to be that starter, if he can learn this offense just as good as Mariota does, Falcons might have a tough decision then. Then it might be you might have to go with the young kid because he's already caught up to speed. But again, you bring up a good point, though, too, Jim, is Mariota, can he stay healthy? We noticed last year with the Raiders, in a backup role, he played one snap in the season and did a quarterback, boot and just took off running like 50, 60 yards down the field, and all of a sudden gets tackled, and he's like, oh, I'm hurt. And one play. Mm-hmm. So that's what you kind of got to worry about with Mariota as a starter there. But other than that, I feel like they have a underrated type of a roster that could do some damage, but I don't see them kind of eclipsing and making a push, obviously, for the division. They're still in rebuild mode. I do think they're going to surprise some people with what they have. So for me, they are flatline, and I don't expect too much from them.
Yeah, I've realized. I think I've been really putting a low stock on everybody, I think, during this whole thing. But maybe I just don't expect a whole lot of anybody.
It just means, you have higher
You know what's funny? Because I didn't
them.
think about it, too. Like, when we were talking about our quarterbacks with something to prove, did we even bring up Marcus Mariota? Because I think he probably has something to prove, too.
I don't think we did.
Maybe. Yeah, we didn't bring him up because that's probably a good point, too, that I think Marcus Mariota probably has something to prove because he's been sitting there as a backup now for the previous couple of years.
Can you stay healthy?
Stay healthy and limit turnovers, because he was getting, as his starter here with the Titans, he was getting more turnovers than he was scores and stuff like that. So hopefully, he's learned some stuff here being a backup.
I think he's learned a lot from Vegas.
We've got April, May, June in the house with us tonight. Holy moly!
What's going on?
I don't know what this means here, but she says baby face, and she's laughing. So what does that mean? Does that mean Joe has a baby face, or is it me? Do I have the baby face now? I'm not sure. But
you might have a
what does that
baby
mean?
face.
Yeah, but maybe she was just wanting to bring up Babyface.
Have a know-it-all.
He's a great songwriter, Babyface, by the way.
Great,
a lot of big hits.
Phenomenal voice.
Yeah, he should start writing songs for some of these guys that are out now. Maybe some of the music will get better. You know what I mean? There's a lot of terrible music out there. But so, anyways, well, thanks for the comment. Let us know. Everybody else here, too. Light up the comments. If there anything else you guys want to bring up about these teams, too, as well. We're going through them all.
Or Jim's baby face.
Or my baby face, or maybe it's Joe's baby face. He's been the same age looking, over there for the past, 10 years, Joe? You just haven't aged.
I don't know.
You haven't aged. You're the ageless wonder.
I do
there.
have gray hair, though.
I just can't see it, though. See? There you go.
That's why I keep the mic there, man. I got to kind of block that.
Nice. All right, so here we go. We've got the Carolina Panthers. I might have that thing off center, but the Panthers. All right, let's take a look at them. Matt Rule here, and these guys. But the question mark for them, Sam Darnold again. How's he going to perform?
Sammy.
Again, started off strong when he came to this team. Not they picked up his fifth-year option. They want to roll with him. But, again, injuries, stuff like that, not only just to him, but, constant injuries of Christian McCaffrey, too. But what was nice with them is they found another star in Chuba Hubbard here behind there, too. So they can go two-headed monster in the backfield, too, all day if they want to do this here. Like you said, with the Packers, maybe put two back sets or something like that and have some fun with that. But are we going to see a full season here with Sam Darnold, and how's he going to play? Is he going to get back to where he was, where you saw him connecting with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and these guys that he's familiar with? Or, again, they go and draft Matt Corral here in the third to move on. Again, some good value picks there. But this team has kind of been trending upwards if they could only get that health bug, off their backs. If you get a full season,
bug.
yeah, if you get a full season of Christian McCaffrey and then a quarterback that can keep it together too as well, I think the ceiling is high for this team. And with the way this division is cracking up here, with also Tom Brady coming back out of retirement, kind of extending his career, I think a little too long now, that you kind of expect that's going to be the cream of the crop of this division.
Absolutely.
But it's the tides are turning, I think. The gears are turning. This is the time for this team to start going up. So I think right now, injury bug going down, I think their stock's pretty high right now.
Yeah, and this is a very young team, and they've kind of been slowly growing together, especially defensively. They've been amazing on that side of the ball. Now, the offense, it looked promising early on last season. Sam Darnold comes in, learns the offense, starts distributing the football to DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson, and everything's great, right, for the first 5 games. They went 5-0 in the beginning of last season, and then dun, 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 Darnold goes down with an injury. As soon as that happens, the wheels kind of fall off. They don't really have any real leadership at the quarterback position. They're trying to scramble around and maybe potentially bring in someone that could help them get back in their winning ways, but it just didn't work out. And then when Darnold did come back from his injury, it was a little too late to get back into the hunt. So this is a young Panther team that I really do like, especially defensively, and they've kind of added more firepower on that end. I'm excited for the draft pick that they got in Ike Ekwonu, who I think is going to be ends up being the best offensive lineman taken in this past draft. I just love this team. I like what they have at their disposal with Terrace Marshall Jr., who came in last year as a rookie. Look for him to get even better. So they have a well-rounded roster, well-rounded offensive line. Let's just keep Sam Darnold upright and see where this team could go for. And not to mention, like you were saying, McCaffrey is back yet again. Mm-hmm. And the big question is, McCaffrey, contract year, do they trade him before week 8, or do they try to work out a long-term deal to keep him there in Carolina? That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. And other than that, I have high hopes for this team. They are trending upwards in my eyes.
All right, there you go. Let's move on to now the New Orleans Saints under Dennis Allen now. Yeah, there you go. So we don't have, Sean Payton there anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
They go and draft a wide receiver, which we were kind of trending that they were going to do. They go and get Chris Olave here. They draft Trevor Penning here for the left tackle's position here on offensive line, so try and help that out here for them. But mainly, they make some moves here too. We'll focus on that real quick and get Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu here in the back too, as they made some changes here in the backfield. But a lot of the upper front is a lot of the same here for that defense. And so basically the question here for them is how Jameis is going to play. What kind of Jameis are we going to get? What's the leash on him too? Because they go and get now. Not only they've had Taysom Hill there and been playing that song and dance back and forth with Jameis Winston. They go. That's what I mean. They've showed that he's done. They go and get Andy Dalton, the veteran here, to back up Jameis Winston now. Now, is that in case there might be an injury maybe with Jameis Winston, or is it really just that if he doesn't perform and he ends up being that 30 for 30 guy, can get you those touchdowns, but those dumb turnovers that he's known for doing, do they pull the trigger and go to Andy Dalton, the true veteran who has been able to get some teams to the playoffs, played well, I think, even when he was with the Cowboys, I think, for some time too, he played decent for them.
I'm hoping that with Dennis Allen now as the head coach, he gets a little creative. Now, he's a defensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
So he's more concentrated on that defensive side and keeping that rolling. But offensively, this is going to be interesting because it'll be the first time that they are without Sean Payton, one of the best offensive geniuses in football, used to be in football. And this is where it's going to be a little different than what we're used to because I don't know what kind of offense they are going to run. It could be similar, but it's not going to be the same. And the biggest thing for them is they needed weapons, and they attacked that in the draft. You know, Chris Olave, the big-time speedster that he is, and they also signed Jarvis Landry out of free agency to team them up with, guess who's returning? Michael Thomas. So as long as Michael Thomas can come back healthy and return to the ways of him catching the football that he once was, with the Hall of Fame quarterback that they had, I think this receiving core goes from being like a subpar to now it has the potential to be something great for them.
Right.
Not to mention they pair another draft pick up in the first round, Trevor Penning, who I viewed as one of my best offensive tackles coming out, and a vicious man. They plug him at left tackle. Teron Armstead, goodbye. Now we plug in Penning. So they didn't really lose anything, and if they were going to lose a piece here and there, they managed to replace it with something just as good or even better. And on the defensive side, I'm super excited because now you get to see Tyrann Mathieu in the back end of that defense with Marshawn Lattimore at corner, with Paulson Adebo, who was a rookie, a year ago. And let's see, now he's going to get a chance to just start opposite Lattimore. So there's a lot of good things happening for the Saints. I look for this defense to continue doing what they do best, creating havoc in the backfield, getting after the quarterback, and picking the ball off over the middle of the football field. So offensively is where the big question mark is. No Peyton, no Sean Payton offense. Let's see what they're going to do there. Now, you mentioned Andy Dalton. That, to me, is an insurance policy. So if Winston doesn't work out, they have a veteran that they could kind of try to replace him with.
Yep.
And maybe get something going with him. But they can't wait too long in the season. So Winston might, in fact, have a short leash. And, we do know that Winston has a leg up on Dalton because of his understanding of the personnel there. But Dalton is a professional, and he could come in, learn this playbook relatively quickly, and be ready when his number's called.
Absolutely. So for me, I think with basing off of where they were last year, and then even the moves that they made here, I think their stock is high. I mean, at least trending upwards.
Okay.
Just because last year we didn't know who the starting receiver is going to be. 1 week Callaway would have some catches. 1 week it'd be Traquan Smith.
Well,
it was like
the
all over.
Just
well, I know, but I mean, it wasn't putting up great numbers. The team was just kind of up and down. It really had to rely on Alvin Kamara to do something here, get it going.
They didn't have Winston.
Right. So, I mean, they didn't have a lot, So then now they've added some of those weapons. So, like I said, that wide receiver core, before they made some of those moves, wasn't really that impressive. Now that it looks like they have something here, now if they get the offense going with Winston, then it could potentially be something. So I think from last year to now, I think their stock has gone up.
Well, last year to now, they didn't have a receiving core last year.
Right.
And they just had to rely on a rookie.
Right. And that's why we're talking about the moves that they've done after the draft and where the stock is now.
Right. But that's really all they were missing. Like, Winston was the biggest key.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like if they still had Winston, they would have been able to win more games because they wouldn't have had to play, musical chairs with that quarterback position.
Yeah.
And let's just face it, Taysom Hill is not a quarterback.
No, we know that. Yeah.
I
exactly.
actually hope that with this new offense, they use Taysom Hill as a tight end.
Right.
Because I think he'll be deadly as a tight end.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. All right, now let's move on now to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to wrap up this division. All right, Joe, what do you think? What do you think about the Buccaneers? I mean, anything different here? I mean,
Buccaneers.
They brought a lot of the same guys back here.
No Gronk.
No Gronk so far. Yeah, all right. But,
no Sue.
But again, I think one of the major things for them is they've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there still together. And they bring in Russell Gage, too, I think was a nice piece that was over there in Atlanta. Now comes back here with these guys and Tom Brady. So, I mean, still solid here, I think, on the offensive line. Still not a big turnaround here. They lost a little bit. But all in all, again, this has got to be the team to beat in this division. They add Logan Ryan from the Giants still here at the safety position. So, pretty much gelling the same type of guys, added veterans back into this team, though. So that's a thing that this team has been doing for the last 2 years or so, or 3 years since Tom Brady's been there. So right now, they've kind of got to be the team, like I said, to beat in this division. So right now, I think their stock is still high, but what's going to happen as the year goes for me? I mean, I think, again, Tom Brady, he only spent a little time over there in retirement. Is coming back, so I don't think there's going to be that much of a fall off from what he's going to do, but he keeps extending his career, and you keep playing with and dangling with the hands of time there, too. You don't want it to come back and get you.
It is what it is at this point. Like, listen, the reason why Tom came back, as we all know, that he absolutely
Giselle got sick of him being there for the last,
still loves football to the point where, and just to say, Giselle wants him to quit football. She does not want him to play anymore.
Yeah, I know.
So for him to come back, it just means that when he decided to retire, he was like, after like a few weeks passed, he was like, man, you know what? I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready to retire. I think I want to keep playing this game that I love. And then, boom, he makes his announcement he's coming back. And everybody loses their minds. They're like, what? Tom, you were supposed to quit. You're supposed to leave. Damn it. Tom's back. So that just gave Tampa Bay a big boost of not only confidence, but to know and be reassured that they have a true quarterback there this upcoming season. And they didn't really lose much of anything. And that's the real reason why I think Tom came back. If there was a major overhaul with this roster, I think that would have played a huge part in his decision to come back. And he'd be like, oh, I'm not really buying this. It's too much change. But he knows himself. I still have a solid offensive line. I have great weapons to utilize around me. The defense is still solid and healthy once again. I'm coming back. And he's going to lead this team, and it's most likely going to lead it to another divisional championship.
All right, so I guess your stock's high on there.
It's high on there, bro. How could it not be?
Yeah, right? Absolutely. All right, so moving on to the next and final division here in the NFC. We're going to move to the Arizona Cardinals here. Now, the Arizona Cardinals have been picked as the team that's going to be on Hard Knocks, which I think could be interesting in its own mindset here, just because, again, you're hearing Kyler Murray. He's not showed up to OTAs yet. Again, it's voluntary. But he's, again, you're hearing from his camp. You know, we saw about the thing with removing everything about the Cardinals from Twitter, all this other nonsense, looking to do something here, a new deal, whatever. So I think to be able to follow that possibly in the offseason, if he really hasn't returned or if he has, that there's still negotiations going on. I'm wondering how much of that might be part of that show. I think if we get to delve behind the scenes of some of that, I think it'll be pretty interesting.
How the HBO series works is the team itself gets to pick and choose what gets displayed.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hard.
So I'm wondering then
they're not even going to show that,
right? Well, what if they do? Like, say if they do this though. Say if again he's in negotiations, but then they try and release whatever they want to make it paint it look like that he's like the bad guy in the whole situation.
No, they're not going to do that,
right?
No, because teams stay away from all that negativity because they definitely don't want teams and or fans knowing what exactly is going on behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. You only see or hear what they want you to. Mm-hmm. So nothing going to be like really, secretive that you're going to get to find out about that situation or the Cardinals for that matter. Mm-hmm. But what we do know is that Kyler Murray is back in the good graces of the Cardinals. Everybody can relax. He put pictures back up, and everything is okay now.
Yeah.
He threw his little toddler fit, about being paid because Deshaun Watson, has his money, and this guy and that guy, and Derek Carr signed, and where's my money? Well, he has a right to say that because his contract is coming to a close, his rookie deal that he had. So now he wants to get paid. And he does deserve to get paid because not only is he a true franchise quarterback at this point, he wants to be paid like the other big boys because he's a little leprechaun.
Now, with this team, too, you see them bring back A.J. Green early on and once the offseason kind of hit and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that we kind of were interested during the draft night, it kind of blew people's minds. I mean, we weren't in the same spot during the draft or whatever, but I'm sure you were thinking the same kind of thing. When you hear about the Marquise Brown trade go down, everyone's like, whoa, what the hell just happened, blah, blah. But now look at that wide receiving core. Man, you got Rondell Moore, you've got DeAndre Hopkins. But then you hear now, again, so they must have known the hammer's going to be dropped here. DeAndre Hopkins with the PEDs, now he's getting suspended.
6-game suspension.
Now, not going to be playing there. So it makes sense to go and get Marquise Brown here to fill that spot. But then when he comes back, it's fully loaded again. It's super sweet for Kyler Murray again, not really losing a beat with losing Christian Kirk to over there the Jacksonville Jaguars when they want to overpay him stuff. So they didn't miss anything, and I think they've only gained by getting Marquise Brown here.
Yeah, Marquise Brown will finally be utilized as a complete receiver in this offense. Kyler Murray can throw it anywhere on the football field. So with a guy like Hollywood Brown, who's going to attack deep down the field, he's going to really stretch opponents out to the point where they're like, who do we defend? Shit. What week is it? Oh, it's week 7. DeAndre Hopkins comes back. Now we got to defend DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, Rondell Moore, and the guy that's going to kind of be the dark horse of the receiving corps is A.J. Green. I'm hoping that with this very versatile type of receiving corps, that they kind of move these guys around almost. Like maybe not Hopkins because he's one of the goats there on that team. He's going to lock it down on one side, but A.J. Green would be a very unique piece to move him slot outside on different plays. So, and don't forget, our boy Andy Isabella is still on this roster. He just doesn't get playing time.
No.
So they were looking to trade him, and it just never happened. But you got to wonder at some point, this poor guy, is he ever going to get a shot? Because we've seen how dynamic he is in his speed. But, man. But other than that, they got a good offensive line. They're still, honed in on that position. Zach Ertz coming back again for another year. And they get my number 1 tight end out of the draft in Trey McBride. Wow. All I got to say is this offense is not only super potent now, good luck trying to stop it. Because they have James Conner coming back. Darrell Williams signed from the Chiefs, who I think is a very underrated running back. He's coming over to help. And then defensively, we thought this defense was going to look scary last year, and how good they were playing was awesome. They just got more dangerous. They not only are going to come together for another season under the same defense, which makes them even better because they're going to have a full understanding of what is expected from each player. I just think this is going to be an awesome season. We saw them last year, right?
Yeah.
They were really pushing for that number 1 seed,
right?
And things kind of fell apart a little bit.
At the end of the wheels came off the caboose. But to me, they're trending upwards still. Yep.
They haven't dived down at all for me.
Yeah, I agree with it there too. I think their stock's high. We got to see a taste of what they are to become. There's one of those teams. They're like we thought we saw it. We picked them for the division even too, and they were there.
Definitely.
But they were like that team like we saw maybe like with the Bengals. They started to kick up like they were supposed to, but they acted like we were like they're there, and now we think this year is that next step to where now the Bengals we thought they were trending up, but then they took it to a whole nother level and got a lot further than we all thought. So a little premature there.
Right.
But they're in that same type of realm there. So I agree with you too that the stock's high, just unfortunately in a tough division here with the likes like this team right here, the 49ers, and then also the Rams. So 49ers right here, Joe. What do you think? So what do you got here for their stock? You've heard the rumors back and forth with the trades constantly and stuff. But again, we've looked at the the stats with Garoppolo, the way it's gone. We're looking at our lads right now. Shout out to our lads again. And they've got Trey Lance penciled here in at the number 1 spot here, which is kind of funny because on the opposite of things with if you follow the storyline and stuff like that, he hasn't looked good in camp so far. And they haven't talked about trading Jimmy Garoppolo, especially because he has that little bit of that injury still there too.
They have come out and they have discussed a possible trade. Jimmy G has even said that the Niners are going to do right by him, and as long as he likes the situation, it's going to be traded. Now, it's not solely up to Garoppolo. The Niners, if they find a good trade partner or a good trade, they're going to make it happen. But they're considering, you know what I mean? Like they're being the gentleman, so to speak, of this whole situation. They're saying, Jimmy, we're going to try to help you out and put you in the best situation for you, but we also got to do what's best for the Niners. And if this, in fact, happens, I'm going to tell you right now, listen, Trey Lance is penciled as a starter for a reason. They decided to take him with the 3rd overall pick. And when you use that high of a pick, you got to eat it. You know, you have to play that player because this is going to determine whether if you have a long career or short. Because when you make that kind of a big decision on a quarterback, the biggest position in football, you better hit. And now you have to prove it because it's had a whole season of not showing too much on the football field, partly due to injury, but also partly because of his role in last year's roster. But Jimmy Garoppolo, I do kind of expect him to get traded eventually.
Now, if you have something like that, go ahead.
Yeah, and if that happens, I like what they did in the draft in drafting in the 3rd round Danny Gray, who's a speedster receiver to help guys like Deebo Samuel. Not to mention, Deebo Samuel also, he's still looking to get a long-term extension before Week 8. Yeah. If Week 7 comes and they still haven't agreed on a long-term deal, I'm looking for Deebo to also be traded. And that's going to kind of flip this whole team on its head.
Right.
They have a solid offensive line. They did draft Trey Lance to be that successor. They have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, but this could change very quickly in terms of their offense being very different after Week 8.
Right.
So if this happens, let's just say, for example, Garoppolo's gone, traded, Week 5. Week 6 happens. Deebo Samuel, now he's traded. He's gone. Or even Week 7. Now you're without your biggest weapon in Deebo Samuel and a veteran quarterback that led you to the Super Bowl one time.
Yeah.
To me, forget the defense. The defense is going to handle itself.
Yeah,
it's a good defense.
Yeah.
But if this I'll just say this. If Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded, alone, just him, this team is trending downward for me. And the reason why they're trending downward for me is because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen. If Jimmy G gets dealt, that means Trey Lance, that's it. This is your team now. You have to prove yourself, and you haven't proven anything just yet.
All right, for me, again, I got to keep their stock low right now just because when you follow the stocks too, you look at trends, you look at things that you're hearing. People are on it all the time, you know what I mean? And trying to, I'm hearing this, maybe we should do this. Right now, with having the uncertainty that Jimmy G might not be there, that Deebo Samuel, again, they're not, working things out too. You got to try to figure out a deal. That uncertainty has, for me, it's like, boom, off limits. I'm not getting any of this. So I've got stock low on this team right now.
I'm selling this stock right now.
Right? I'm taking it low.
I'm bailing. I'm bailing.
Absolutely. So talk about bailing and being low here too. I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Sorry, to our guys there over there in the West Coast here. But sorry, Tom Leiter. But we can't deal with it. You know what I mean? They let their star quarterback go. You know what I mean? You let him go, and what did you get back in return? You got Drew Lock and stuff like that. And so where now even our lads has Geno Smith penciled in as number 1 right now. So, okay, so what did you get on top of that? A couple picks and then Noah Fant too. So, again, they did get Charles Cross in the draft, which is really nice though too. That was a good pick for them. A great pick for them too to help that offensive line that has been needing help because if you look at Russell Wilson's career, he's a career 40 sack guy. You know what I mean? So 40 plus every time. Like, he's up there in the numbers and getting sacked the most here. So now this team here is kind of in limbo for me. They've got to be at rebuild mode. They got rid of finally all of the original guys that were on the everybody from the Legion of Boom is gone. So now you're left with Jamal Adams there too. I'm waiting for him to complain about being on this team if they really start to lose a lot, because you saw he did with the Jets have issues here. So they're in full rebuild mode right now. Some people think even the Seahawks will tell you that they're feeling good about themselves and ready to go, but I don't see it. I'm not. They're blowing smoke in my ass, and I'm not smelling it here. I'm good, man. I don't buy this. When you got Geno Smith as your starter, we saw how he did in with the New York Jets up here in the East Coast here. I don't think anything that he's learned down there in Seattle has really showed that he can do something here.
The one thing that he has a leg up on Drew already is he knows the offense.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, that's probably why he's penciled in there.
That's exactly why. You know, but I think Drew Lock will definitely end up being the starter by week 1.
Yep.
I think he is a little bit better than Geno.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to love throwing to receivers like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Marquise Goodwin.
Marquise Goodwin there, right?
Also, D. Eskridge is a very fast receiver as well that they drafted in the 2nd round last year. Look for him to kind of make a splash this year as well. But I just don't buy it. I mean, you guys are definitely rebuilding. I do, however, love the 2nd round pick that they had in Kenneth Walker, who I had as my number 1 running back coming out. He's more of that mold of like a Marshawn Lynch, a guy that has decent speed, has power, can break tackles, and can also catch out of the backfield and block for you. So he's a running back that can do everything extremely well, and that's going to help guys like Drew Lock coming in, a guy that can rely on his running back to take the rock once in a while. So all in all, they are definitely in rebuild mode. Defensively, they got a lot of work to do. Let's just say that. When you lose Bobby Wagner, who was the backbone of this defense, even back in the Legion of Boom days, now you've lost a big portion of your defense. Not just because of his play, but also because of his mindset and how smart he was and placing everybody in the right spots. Jamal Adams, look for him to be the next guy before week 8 that wants out of there, that wants to be traded somewhere else. So I see that happening. Other than that, they are in rebuild mode. Sorry, Seattle, but you have a downward trend in my book.
There you go. Now finally the Los Angeles Rams, returning champions. Not a lot of turnaround with this team. Again, they swapped some wide receivers out, but again, you don't really lose a whole lot because you do bring in Allen Robinson, who's been looking for a winning culture here. So they're lucky for him, he goes right onto this team. And how deadly is that receiving core? When you thought it was deadly last year, you get this type of receiving core you're staring at here. Again, Matthew Stafford's got to be looking at himself. He's like, I'm ready to size up another ring right here. Let's get it done. And again, this is the time here too, because this team has shown you too that salary cap don't mean shit. They're like, whatever, bro. We're just banking in on it again. They've shelled out all their picks, even without having the picks that they should have probably had. Missing picks this year again. Able to just come back with this same type of team with this caliber and scoff at teams like the New England Patriots for some of the picks that they have made and stuff like that. We've seen Sean McVay on draft night half in the bag, but I like it. I like the team, again, staying solid. It's a lot of the same personnel there, too. They do add Bobby Wagner or something like that, too, where we said that, he's now no longer with Seattle, but they add a veteran there, too, in that linebacker spot situation, too, to add to the mix that they've had here, because they did have Von Miller on that, type of loner type of deal last season to make that push for the playoffs here. Now he's over there with the Buffalo Bills. All in all, the same thing. Looks really good. They get, in the 3rd round, Logan Bruss here, too, for the guard situation.
That's another good pick.
Yeah, really sweet here for them. They don't have, their stud center anymore, because he's retired. But this team is solid. It has got to be the cream of the crop right now, coming back as returning champions here. For me, stock's high. But, again, I think they're on that short leash. They're still kind of got to ride this wave for the next 2 years.
And you see this trend happening in the NFL across the way. teams that are willing to trade their high picks for a player to get them over the top or to even further excel that production level for that team to kind of to take over games against certain opponents, against their division rivals or even interconference rivals. So you're seeing that trend, and it was started by the Rams. They were like, screw first-round picks. We're going to trade this first-round pick for this guy or that guy. We got to trade it for Von Miller and bring him in, and it worked. And what they did in the offseason was all free agency. They managed to pick up certain pieces that they lost, like Allen Robinson. Odell Beckham got hurt. We don't know when he's going to come back. So because of that uncertainty, oh, Allen, you're still out there? Here, come join a winning culture, winning team. Let's go. We're Super Bowl champions. Don't you want to be one?
Right. And when they were able to do that, they were able to trade away Robert Woods with that whole deal after, too.
Yeah, they get Robinson, a younger receiver, a guy that can come in, is a veteran still. Cooper Kupp to team him up with him. Van Jefferson's going to get a bigger role now. And then also Bobby Wagner. Like, this guy is going to be a menace for this defense over the middle. Not only can he cover, even, he's above 32 years old right now. This guy can still cover and still hammer you over the middle. You try to run the ball, good luck. He's going to destroy you in the backfield. So I think not only did they get another big-time free agent, but also a guy who is going to further boost this defense like it needs it anyway. So all in all, this team, top to bottom, doesn't have any weaknesses anymore. Just like last season, they kind of retooled, if you will, added a few pieces, and now they're right back in the hunt once again. Got to be trending upward. Absolutely.
All right, there you go. And that's our team stock preview again. Just taking a look at them after the draft, after some free agency and stuff, seeing how they did. Again,
yes,
some high, a lot of them I was low on. Again, just because for me, again, expectations. Yes, maybe even if you look at some teams, I looked at how they finished last year to where they are now. They're probably in a better situation. I probably could have did that with the Giants though too.
But the thing
is,
like
you were kind of thinking, I think.
I don't.
But I just don't expect a whole lot. So maybe that's what helps hinder my situation here for them.
Sometimes you have to compartmentalize from last season to this season because there's too many changes that happen. You know what I mean? Like for your team, for example, it's a new coaching staff, new GM, brought in different pieces, and it might be just something that you need to get over the hump.
Right.
Listen, the Bills' offensive coordinator comes over, and he's going to help Daniel Jones. Not only did they make that offensive line way better, but even if you have injury-riddled receiving corps, even if that happens, they don't need the elite Kenny Galladay to be elite. They don't need that. They just need guys to get open, catch the ball, and that's it. So with Saquon Barkley coming back, I feel like with this offensive line, with the way the offense is going to be run, it's not going to put too much pressure on Jones. It's not going to put all the pressure on Barkley to be just the guy. It's going to be dispersed throughout, and you're going to notice a different type of team. You're going to notice a better playing style for them. And that could be said for a lot of other teams for this upcoming season. There's a lot of changes that have happened. Whether it be coaching staff, whether it be personnel, or whether it be just a whole mindset. So there's a lot of variables, of course, that go into our decisions. But the hardest part is to kind of not necessarily completely forget about last year, but you got to take it like a grain of salt from last season because things have changed.
Right, I hear you. And again, but the thing that goes through my mind again, when you do have questions, and again, if you are thinking
I got answers
on the time for stock markets and stuff like that, just like you saw with even the Virginia with the thing to do the move here with the Commanders. If there is any doubt or something like that, you stay away from it. You're not buying it. Your stock is just going to be low. It's just going to sit there. But that's when some guys will, like you said, forget about last year. I see a lot in this. The stock's low. I'm buying it on this because I think the dividends will be better off when it pays off in the end. So you have a bigger return.
Every single season, guys, there's always a surprise team.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Absolutely. So that's it. That's our show for tonight. Dude, we made it 2 hours. How about that? Check it out.
Way to go. Way to stretch it out, buddy.
Do it. Yeah. All right. Cool. Hopefully that wasn't drug out too far for everybody. And you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget, you can also check us out here on Spotify and every place that you can listen to.
We're on Spotify video. We're on YouTube. We are on Facebook. Anywhere you get your podcast, guys,
Google
follow us
Podcasts
there.
too. Yeah.
And
everybody
don't
on
forget,
Android people.
be interactive with us. Drop a question. Drop a thought. Drop anything. Fantasy football. That's what we're here for. We're here to bounce ideas off each other. We're here to start some conversations that just like you're at a bar. You know?
Yeah.
And that's how we started.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
started at a bar talking about football, and then we're like, you know what? Hey, you want to do a podcast? Sure. And it evolved to what it is today. So
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for all the support. Listen, if you do us a favor, hit up any one of your friends, family, relatives, anybody that loves football, have them come swing over. Head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. You can also become a member on Facebook, and then anywhere you get your podcasts. Yeah! But thank you guys so much. Thanks to all our sponsors out there. Thanks to everybody that has supported us through these years. This is our 5th year, guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And we keep it rolling for you. So
Absolutely.
Listen, let's have some more fun talking football next week.
All right. See you guys.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.